Lord help me, I'm just not with it. I'm your host, not for possession, Narcissa Deville, and welcome to hell. I still have to do the RuPaul arm because that's my signature that I stole. Okay, girl, get you a pillow, get you a blanket, like, get some tea, because this is going to be a whole new series, Snuggling with Narcissa Deville, because, bitch, I'm lazy and this just seemed like a good idea. Let's just make a video where I'm just on my couch, snuggled up in my pillows, laying down, talking to you guys, like a good old Kiki moment. I feel like I could bring the camera closer, but then I don't want to scare you. So, like, let's leave it there for now. Actually, a lot of things that I do want to talk about, like this, it's like a kind of a funny idea, but it's actually like I do want to like talk about serious shit. So, you know, one of the things I do want to talk about, and I've been thinking about a lot, is like I have a lot of different ideas, not like specifically for the channel, but just in general, and like I know that I tend to struggle with vulnerability issues and like being more vulnerable on this channel and kind of like letting myself look ridiculous and things like that. Like that's like kind of a fear of mine. Like I never want to look ridiculous, which is ironic because there's been many times where I've put up videos and I was like, girl, your makeup looks like trash. Like what the fuck are you doing? Why are you going on camera looking like that, or not wearing makeup at all as I am currently? But I'm just like, I can't sit here and like, I don't want to, I'm trying to think of the word, like, or what I'm trying to say for a second, but like, I really just want to be that person who is like more open with you guys and more just like real with you guys. And for me, like, I don't know, I feel like being vulnerable and being like, letting you see like more of me and like inside, like that's hard for me. And I don't know if that's like a Slytherin thing or if that's just a me thing, but it is a struggle for me because I particularly don't like looking weak, because I feel like for a lot of my friends in particular and a lot of people who know me, I always like, I've put myself in this position where I'm almost like the mother of my friend group. And so I always have to be strong for everyone else, and I always feel like I have to take care of them and make sure they're doing okay. And so what happens is that whenever I have a problem, I have put myself in this position where I don't feel like I can have a problem. Like I have to be strong for everyone else. And so if they see me weak, like somewhere in my head I've convinced myself that no one will come to me with their problems and no one will like ask my help with things and need me for things. And it's just like, it's 12 kinds of ridiculous and 12 kinds of like, okay girl, like that's nonsense. But at the same time, like that's just who I am, I guess. So I have to like, I guess I have to like deal with that and come to terms with it. Basically, I just have to be able to say, you know what, it's, you know, there's no weakness in vulnerability, which I keep hearing over and over. Like, it's this thing I keep hearing, like, it's almost like the universe trying to give you a message, because I hear it a lot, especially, like, on Drag Race. I've heard it a couple times, like, there's no weakness in vulnerability and being honest and stuff like that. And that's something that, like, I understand mentally, but, like, getting myself to believe that is really, really difficult, I find. So it's like one of those things where it's like, I know that to be true, and I know that it doesn't make me weak to be vulnerable, but at the same time, I'm like, yeah, I can't do that. And so, like, there's times where I, like, want to say things and I want to talk about things, and I recorded a whole video about, you know, I'm still struggling with my feelings about, you know, the whole thing with my father dying, and haven't really talked about that on a vlog because I'm still not sure how I feel about it, to be honest, and I know that sounds ridiculous. But I recorded a whole video, and I was gonna edit it and, like, post it, and then I don't know what happened. I just didn't, and I'm just like, I mean, I feel better for having made the video, but in general, like, I didn't end up posting it, and I don't know how to talk about it, to be honest. Like, I know I was doing the podcast with Adrienne, we were doing the Dead Dads Club, and I really enjoyed that, and I thought it was an interesting way to talk to somebody who had been through this, but then, like, we posted one, and then I didn't ever edit any of the other ones. Like, we recorded 3, and I posted 1, and I don't know what the fuck's wrong with me. And I'm just like, but I don't know what else to do with it. You know what I mean? Like, it's a good idea, I feel like, in theory, like, talking to people who have lost their fathers and, like, what that's like and how they feel about it and kind of that thing. And I feel like it would be a good opportunity to, like, interview people who have been through this and who, like, know how that feels. But at the same time, it's like, you know, for me, like, mid-July, so it was 4 months ago now, and, like, I don't know, for the most part, I don't, like, think about it, and this is not what I wanted this video to be about, by the way, but here we are. For the most part, I don't think about it, but at the same time, when I do think about it, I'm like, we just had such a rough relationship that, honestly, it's so difficult for me to know, like, how do you talk to people about this? Like, it was just such a rough relationship. It was just such a tumultuous thing that, like, part of me is like, oh, okay, you know, my dad's dead. That's weird. But another part of me is like, you know, it's not like we were close, so this doesn't change anything almost. You know what I mean? It's like, okay, he's dead, but, like, we weren't ever close enough that you seemed alive to, like, he was dead to me for a long time is basically what I'm saying. And so, like, it becomes, having him be dead for real, it's kind of like, okay, well, this is just, you know, formalizing something I've felt for a while, I guess. But what I mainly wanted to talk about in this video, and kind of what I've been thinking about a lot, is, you know, earlier, like, last month, I was having a bit of a freak out because, as some of you may know who watch this, who know me personally, you know, I'm very, very close to 30. You know, I'm going to be 27 in, like, a month and a half, basically, because July is almost over. And that aspect of things is kind of terrifying to me because, like, in my head, I've had this idea of where I wanted my life to be by the time I was 30, and, like, how far I wanted to be along in my career, and, like, just all these things. I am just someone who, since they were 12 years old, has very clearly known where they wanted to be. And so to know that I'm about to be 27 and I still don't feel like I'm there in some way, or as close as I should be in some ways, or, like, starting on the way and blah, 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 I had kind of a freak out about it earlier, like, in June. And now I'm kind of at the point where I'm like, okay, you know, yeah, you're about to be 27, and that's scary because you're closer to 30 than you were, you know, 3-4 years ago. Fine. So on the one hand, you know, my 20s have been a time where, especially my late 20s, it's been a big time of change. Like, 21 going on 22 is when I started my transition. You know, 25, 26 is when I started, you know, doing YouTube, and when I really decided that I wanted to work on becoming a more positive person and work on, you know, just generally trying to be happier and realizing the things that I do have, because unfortunately I went through a period where I just felt like I didn't have anything, and I was just, like, you know, kind of miserable for no good reason. And so, you know, my mid-20s had been about that, and now that I'm getting to my late 20s, as it were, I want to take the time to do something that's a little more, I hate to say adventurous, because that sounds like, I don't know, that sounds weird to me, but in a sense, that is what I mean, because I want to do things that are not. Basically, what I'm challenging myself to do for my 27th year is I want to do things that I've always wanted to do, but for one reason or another have held myself back from out of like fear. You know what I mean? Like, I've been researching. I want to join a writers group here in Vegas. You know, I want to join like a trans group so I can make more trans girlfriends, because one of the things I'm realizing is that I adore my friends and my current friend group, but they're all primarily heterosexual cisgender women and like one straight dude who's also cisgender. Like, I don't have really many trans. I have like 2 trans friends at this point, and I don't really talk to either of them all that much. And so like, it's just kind of weird to me to know that I have so many friends who are great and I love them, but they don't quite understand what it's like to be a trans woman. They don't understand what it's like to, you know, just some things that I feel like another trans woman and I would maybe be able to connect on. And like, just, I feel like that sounds really weird and shallow, but like, I don't know. I've always primarily had like, first of all, I've always primarily had female friends. I've had very, very few male friends over the course of my life. But mostly I've had female friends, and of those female friends, a vast majority of them have also been heterosexual. Like, I don't, or cisgender, I don't tend to, like, not on purpose, it's just something that's just happened. Like, I actually don't feel like I've met, in general, that I'm aware of, many trans people. Like, I feel like, sometimes I feel like I'm the only one, which I know is psychotic, but, like, there's been times, like, at my work that I'm just like, how am I the only one here? And then I'm kind of, like, hoping that I'll find someone else that I'm like, okay, please, like, please let me not be that, let me meet someone who also is, so we can, like, talk and, like, hang out or something. Like, I know that sounds really weird to me, to be like, oh my god, you're trans, let's be friends. Like, that's a really, I don't necessarily think that's enough to sustain a friendship. So, like, obviously that's ridiculous, but at the same time, you're like, it's nice to know that you're not the only one in this particular environment. What's great about my friends is that they do understand me, and they don't, like, question me or anything like that. Like, it's never anything like that. But, you know, they don't understand the specifics of, like, you know, dealing with dysphoria whenever it comes up. You know, it's not, luckily it's not, like, often, but when it does come up, it's like, they don't understand what that's like. They don't understand what it's like to have someone, like, in online dating, specifically, like, interested in you just because you're trans, or, like, ask you some inappropriate question about your genitals, which has happened. And I'm like, I don't even know how to respond to that. My knee-jerk reaction is to joke, because being serious is, like, beyond me. But also, it's like, that's super uncomfortable for me, because that's not a subject I'm interested in talking about with anyone, let alone you. So it's just kind of like, you know, it's a subject that they can understand, and I can vent to my friends, and, like, they sympathize, but they're never going to know what that actually feels like. And so for me, it's just kind of like, you know, I would like to be able to have someone who understands what that feels like, who's been through it, who knows. And I do have a trans friend who, you know, she understands a lot of that, but we don't really talk. We just are not that close. And so it's just kind of like, you know, I know she's there, but we're not, like, besties. We're not like sisters like me and Adrienne are, or me and Kat, you know. We don't talk all the time. We don't even talk every day. Like, we don't even talk I don't even know when the last time I spoke to her was. And so it's just kind of like, I don't know. It's just this weird thing that I feel like I would like to have that. So my challenge to myself is to say, okay, well, you're going to have to go out into the community and, like, find people. And so that's part of my challenge to myself for my 27th year. And I want to like go out more and do things outside of the house, because I know I have this bad habit of like just wanting to stay home and be in my like little introvert cocoon and not do anything and not interact with people. And that's great, but there's a part of me that feels like I'm holding myself back from doing certain things out of fear, and like I'm not living my life, so to speak, which sounds kind of like ridiculous, but you know, and first of all, I've lovingly entitled my 27th my hoe year, because I would love to, in theory, just like sleep around like crazy, which I don't think I'm capable of. But I love the idea of it in theory. And so my whole challenging myself and doing stuff out of my comfort zone, you know, I'd like to be a little more spontaneous to where, you know what? If I talk to a hot guy and I want to fuck him, then I just do it and not overthink it and become like this, you know, weird. And here's the thing, I'm by no means a prude, but I feel like I have to know someone a little bit before I jump into bed with them. Like, I'm very much, like, I want to be Samantha Jones, but I just can't. And I don't know if it's, like, Catholic guilt that, like, still lingers despite the fact I haven't been Catholic since I was 14, or if it's just, like, I don't know what it is, but there's something there that, like, makes it so I struggle with that, and I can't just, like, jump into bed with someone without like knowing them or knowing a little bit about them. And I would like to be able to just do it to say that I've done it. The closest I came was someone who I knew sort of. We talked like 3 days. We had talked like a few times across 3 days, and then they came over. Like, that's the closest, but that was a different kind of situation because I like knew them obliquely. I'm gonna keep that very vague so I don't get myself in trouble, but I knew them obliquely, so it was like one of those things where I wasn't super nervous about it. They weren't like a complete stranger, if that makes sense, but like I didn't know them that well, so it was like the closest I've ever gotten to it. But I'd like the idea of like just trying something different with someone that, you know, I don't, like, maybe I'm not dating, maybe I'm not, like, it's just, like, a casual thing. And, because I'm at that point where, you know, I've been single now for going on eternity, and dating is whatever for me at this point. Like, I would like to, but it's not top of my agenda because I feel like I'm already kind of not over it, but I'm just kind of at that point where I'm like, you know what, if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, whatever. I'm not going to force it. I'm not going to like go out of my way to find someone or impress someone or anything like that. So it's one of those things where it's something I want because I want like companionship, and I want like to be dicked down, to be honest. Like, let me be 100. I just want to be dicked down. And I feel like I have to know someone a tiny bit to be comfortable with that. And so, like, it becomes that thing where I don't have that currently, so I'm just kind of like, I need to let go of my, you know, inhibitions and whatever, and just be more adventurous. And, like, I want to challenge myself to, I know this sounds super pretentious, like, go to a cafe or a bookstore and just, like, write. Like, I personally hate those people, because that idea of just, like, oh, I'm gonna write in a cafe, and, like, I feel like a lot of people in the early 2000s were doing it just because, like, it was the thing. Like, oh, J.K. Rowling does this, so I'm gonna write in a cafe. Like, like, I don't know why, but that personally, I became a person who was, like, way too invested in other people's reasons for doing it. But I understand that that's a very good way to write, and I feel like I tend to write the most, like, I can't say, like, in public, because I do have to have some semblance of, like, privacy, but I don't necessarily write a lot when I'm home because most of my time is spent at work. So most of my time is like finding spare moments to like write something down and like get things written and stuff like that. So like I feel like, my God, I say like way too many times. Can you tell I'm a Southern California girl? I feel as though I have a tendency to write more when I'm away from home, and not because I don't like writing at home. It's just not how I tend to do things because I spend the majority of my time like at work, and so that's, I think, how that happened. But I would like to experiment with something where I pointedly go to like a bookstore, which is like right down the street from where I live, and just like right there and like try and experience that and just try and see if like that changes how much I write or like what I write or anything like that, because I am very, very curious about that. Because I have heard before, and I know they have like websites that I've been on that like simulate a coffee house or simulate a like a dorm or a library or something like that. I've actually written in a library once. That was kind of nice. But like just the idea and the concept of writing somewhere different, you know what I mean? And just like experiencing something different and going out more and just like things like that. Like there is a part of me that wants to, I don't care for them, but I do want to like visit more clubs and just experience that a little bit. Like I know we have, and particularly, let's be honest, I'm going to go to gay clubs because I don't know what a straight club is and I don't want to know. But like I know we have a trans nightclub out here in Vegas proper, in like downtown, I think, and I would love to experience that and see what that's like, and just different things that are, you know, not necessarily challenging, but like out of my comfort zone. I'm looking into freelance writing jobs because obviously I really want writing to be my full-time career. I love to do it. I love YouTube as well, so obviously I'm going to need to do more fucking YouTube videos, and I'm so sorry I've been gone for 2 weeks. I have no excuse. It just fucking happened. I didn't even do my intro, by the way, so I'm going to have to do that at the end. Like, what the fuck? But, like, you know, I want to try for freelance writing jobs. I want to challenge myself to enter a writing competition, which I've done one, but I've done them before. It's not like I haven't ever done one. But I want to challenge myself to do one again and, like, challenge myself to write a short story because short stories are typically things I struggle with the most. And so it's like, it's periodically challenging myself to do things that I'm not necessarily comfortable with or that make me nervous for one reason or another, and find a way to make them into something that I can say, you know what, I did this thing. So I don't feel like, oh, I don't really do anything. I don't really, like, all I do is like work and write and occasionally make videos. Like, that is not interesting. And like, how do I make videos if I don't like live my life and do anything to like actually talk about, you know what I mean? And so that's another hope for all of this too, is that like when I do these things and when I like experience these things and go out more, that maybe I'll have more things to discuss for videos, maybe that will help with that, and I'll have like topic, like I know no one does story times anymore, which is fine. I don't think I was that good at them necessarily anyway, which is ironic because being a writer, you'd think story times would be right on my alley, but here we are probably 40 minutes later and I'm just rambling about God knows what. So anyway, I'm gonna wrap this up, but I just thought this would be fun to do, like kind of like a little more intimate moment of me just chatting with you guys, laying on the couch, chilling. I love how it's like 120 and I fully have a down comforter just on me with a fan going, with the air going, but it's like a comfort thing to me. Like, I don't even wear the blanket because I'm cold. I wear it because it's just comfortable for me at this point, which I think sounds really strange. And I know my mother is always like, I don't know how you sleep with that. Like, it's 110 and you have this down comforter. And I'm like, yeah, but it's comfortable. Like, I know that doesn't make sense, but it just makes me feel comfortable. I don't know. Like, not a emotional security blanket, but you get what I'm saying. Anyway, yeah, I'm gonna wrap this up because I feel like I'm rambling, but yeah, so let me know what you guys think. Let me know if you want me to continue this, if you want this to be like a thing where we just kiki with me on the couch. I originally was gonna do it like with me laying down, like fully like well, that's not very comfortable. Let me get actually comfortable. Like just fully laying down like this manner. Which works. I'm actually still in camera. I was worried that I wasn't going to be in camera if I laid like this, but I actually am, although this is probably not a great angle. Those are the best conversations too, when you're like just laying in bed talking with someone of like nothing at all, but like, well, actually sometimes very, very deep conversations, but just like having those conversations in bed at like 3 a.m. Those are good conversations, and I don't have those anymore, and like, ugh. So thank you all so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed this video, you know what the fuck to do. But do comment, and this is the only time I'm going to ask you for that, just because I really don't want to know what you guys think about this idea. So yeah, let me know what you guys think. Subscribe if you would like. I can't force you. I'm not your mother. That's it. Thank you all so much for watching, and until next time, get comfy. That's my new... That's so dumb. I hate myself. Excuse me. Bye!